Okay, let's consider that you have left your classroom and you went off and did something else or whatever. Now you want to return and complete a assignment or work on your classroom a little bit more. So you want to begin by going to your Google browser. So sometimes if you use Classroom quite frequently or any other app, it's going to show up down here amongst the app lineup. In this case, at the browser, is that you want to go back over to the Google Apps and drop it down and look for your Classroom and click it. Again, here what you see is the classrooms that I'm affiliated with that I'm either teaching jointly or somebody has shared them with me. But remember from our previous video is that I named my class Practice. And so yours is going to be similar to this. You're going to, when you enter it, you're going to see your class listed up here. So you want to go ahead and click on your class. And it's going to open it up again to the stream page. Now this time we're going to work on classwork. So we're going to go up here and we're going to click on classwork. Okay. So right here you're going to get the sign that says create assignments and questions, use topics to organize classwork into modules or units, or you can order your work the way you want students to see it. So for me, I begin to think about the topics that I am going to teach from week to week or from each time that I teach my students. And I begin to think about the assignments that are going to be included underneath those topics. So basically, I'm kind of looking at an outline. So in this situation, we want to go over to Create, and down below, we want to choose Topic. So we're going to get this pop-up, and it's going to name the topic. So I do believe when I'm thinking about my class, my first topic that I want to include is class introduction. And most of us do this where we have our syllabus and everything available, and we begin to meet with our students, and we begin to talk about the class and your expectations and the layout and the makeout of the course and everything. As you can see, Classroom added the topic here, class introduction. So now begin to think about what are you going to do the first time that you meet your students. So what you want to do is go back up to create and look at all of the other options. Are you going to create an assignment for them? Are you going to create a quiz assignment? Do you have a question that you want to apply? Or do you want materials? The first thing that I think of when I begin to meet with my students, and I know this is pretty typical for the first time that we meet, that we go over the syllabus for the course. So that's a material. So I'm going to go ahead and select material. And I'm going to write course syllabus. And I could put a description. Find below the course syllabus for your review and approval, right? Okay, so the reason I'm saying it below is because I need to add it below. So I'm going to click the Add button. And now it's pretty much asking me, well, where is the syllabus so I can upload it? Is it in your Google Drive? Can you link it in? Is it in a file? Or is it at YouTube? Well, I know that mine is at a file because I have an electronic version of it. And hopefully you as adjuncts have gotten an electronic version of the course syllabus that you will be teaching for this semester. So I'm going to go ahead and select File. Now, Google does this automatically. It brings up the most recent documents that you've just used. And it also gives you the upload ability. And is it from my drive, my Google Drive? Or do I have it starred, something as important that I use frequently? So in this case, I know that I need to upload it from my PC. So I'm going to choose upload. Now, if you notice here, it says you can also drag and drop. But in this case, I'm just going to browse. And it's going to open up my file system on my PC. So I organized my classes and I created a file system for them called Syntagleshka courses. So I'm going to click on that. And and these are the courses that I teach. I'm going to look at my advanced educational psychology. I'm going to double click and open it up. And I'm going to look at it when I taught it in spring 2020. Click. And I'm going to go down. And there's my syllabus right there. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And I'm going to ask it to open. And so now it's uploading. Okay. So you can see that I put it right here. Now, the students will kind of view this also, something similar to this. They're going to see the course title and the description that you've applied, but they can also go down here and click it, and they're going to get a view of your syllabus. And in your classes, this is where you will probably go over it, and you can pan down. And let's see your meeting on Google Meet, because SGU wants you to meet the first time face-to-face, but you can use the classroom and bring in all of the materials that you need for that first time that you meet with them. And of course, the syllabus is the major thing that you should go over with your students, okay? So here we go. We go down and we can go through the syllabus with them. Now, when the students leave the class, they can also pull that syllabus up as much as they want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that down now and go back to Classroom. Now over here, I can either post it now, or I can do the drop down and I can schedule when it goes up. So if you choose the schedule, you can make sure you can choose the date there, and we can drop that down and we'll get a calendar. So if you know the first night, the date of the first night that you're meeting, you could post it and schedule it, and it will automatically go up there on its own. Okay, let's click out of there. Click back down here. We can save it as a draft, or we can discard draft. Now for me, I don't want my students looking at the syllabus before I go over it with them. So I'm going to save it as a draft, because right when I meet them, then I will go in and post it. So now you can see that it's what I call ghost mode. It's not highlighted. That means it's in draft, but if I were to post it, it's going to be in boldface. Now, one thing good about this is if it's in ghost mode, you can go over to the three dots and you can edit it again. So let's just look at edit. So I can go back in. Let's say I made a spelling error or whatever. I can make that correction, and then I can either post it again or I can save it as a draft. Save draft. Okay, so it goes back to there. Now think about what other things that you need to put under course introduction. Now look at where it ranged here. I'm saying, okay, this is kind of like an outline. So your title is the title of your outline, and underneath it is going to be like your subtitle. So I can drag and drop that down below there. So that's one of the things that I need to do during my first class that I meet with students, is go over that syllabus. Now another thing that is a good idea, and I'm going to put it under materials again, is that I might go to the internet and look for something related to online learning success. And let's see if we can find any rules about that. Top 10 study habits. Learn about successful habits. So I'm going to open that up. And it's talking about the 10 habits of successful students of online. Now, I didn't read this, but let's say this is something that I really thought I should go over with students to kind of prepare them for online learning. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click on that so I can copy this URL. So I'm going to right click on my touchpad, and I'm going to get my operations, and I'm going to choose copy. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my classroom where I'm planning, And I'm going to add that, and then I'd go back and add the title later. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. Where is it? Is it my Google Drive? Is it linked? Is it a file? Is it YouTube? Well, in this situation, it is a link. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and this will pop up. And I'm going to right-click again on my mouse pad or touchpad and paste that in and add link. Okay? So I wonder if I can just copy that. Nope. So you can see that it posted there, and then I would go back and name it 10 Habits of Successful, and I would type that in, and I can do a description here. And I would just maybe write something to my students, you know, what is being advised here is something that maybe you should practice, or we're going to go over this in class, or whatever. Again, the students can view that, and let's click on it to see if it will open up. And there it is, and went right to that site. Okay, let me close them down here. Again, I can post it, or there's another option here. You can schedule it. Again, you might schedule it so it appears that first time that you meet your students. You can save it as a draft, or you can discard it together. Now notice this over here. It says for where. This is the name of my class, and your class will appear here also. Now, if you're teaching more than one class, you can also post that to them also by selecting whatever class that you would want it to go to. So it's kind of a time saver for you, so you don't have to go to each of those classes to repost that. Okay, under here is the topics, and now we only created one topic, and that was Class Introduction. So I'm going to click it, and this time it will paste it right underneath there. Okay, so I'm gonna save this as a draft, and you can see that it put it under here. So I might go over the course syllabus again, so I want that to be first. Okay, so now you might want to consider all of the other things that you're going to cover for that the first day that you meet your students. And there's other options too. So you can begin, and I'll go over some of these other things. Are you going to give them assignment? And maybe the assignment, well, let's choose an assignment. And maybe for this time is read chapter 1 of text. Okay, and give them the directions. And maybe you want them to write a reflection afterwards. Okay, so there's nothing to add this time, because if there was, and now if you had an electronic version of your course text and possibly that you could get chapter 1 uploaded, then you would want to do that. But in this case, there's nothing there. Okay, so again, you can decide where it's going to go, into what class. Who's going to get it? All students? Probably if it's assignments, all. Now you can post a point system on it. So let's say they're writing a reflection. Let's say it's going to be worth 25 points. And you can date it again, and you can drop that. You can get the due date and all of that there. And you can go right down, and you can place this under what topic. Now, we only got one topic created so far, and that's Class Introduction, so we're going to put it there. Now, you do have an option of creating a rubric also. And if you do that, you can create a rubric or reuse a rubric after you do create one. But you can go to create a rubric, and you can put the criteria. So it might be spelling and punctuation. And here's your criteria description. And how many points is it? So if this is poor, and we can name it down here, poor, or needs improvement, however, you can give a point, that's 1 point. So you can click here, and maybe your next description down here is fair. And of course, you might be more descriptive than what I'm doing here. But let's add a point, and that's worth 2. So we can go up, we're going to add another one, and this is good down here. Okay, what does good spelling error and spelling and writing errors look like, or appropriately that you want, you can add the numbers. Now that's just a quick version. So you want to play with the rubric a little bit. So if I close it down, I can ask it to save. And you can see here that it did here, and actually only the rubric that I created was only worth 4 points. Although if you add more to it, then the point system is going to be added up much higher than that, okay? You can assign it, or you can schedule it, or save as draft, okay? And I'm going to just save it as draft again. All right, now, so begin to look at some of these other options that you have to place under your topic. And I'm going to have a follow-up video here, so we're going to create more topics as we go along here, okay? But this is just a basic introduction. Although I'm going to leave you with this, you might begin to think about what for the following week, what is your topic going to be, and then how how you're going to meet the goals and objectives of that particular topic. Are you going to do assignments, quizzes, questions? Are you going to upload materials that they need in order to meet the outcomes or the goals and objectives of that particular title? Okay?